365 Power FM. Don't turn off your radio. You are listening to Power FM. This is 360.
Òṣèlú Nàìjíríà o, olórí Nàìjíríà, ibi tá bá ń kó wà rèé.
Ẹ jẹ́ ká sowọ́pọ̀ ká fìmọ̀ ṣọ̀kan gbé kémi gbé. Nàìjíríà yìí tí gbogbo wa ní. Kó má gbọ́dọ̀ bàjẹ́, torí kò sí ibòmíràn tí a lè lọ. Àjọ lè dàbí ilé. Ẹ jẹ́ ká sowọ́pọ̀ ká fìmọ̀ ṣọ̀kan. Gbé kémi gbé. Nàìjíríà yìí tí gbogbo wa ní. Kó má gbọ́dọ̀ bàjẹ́, torí kò sí ibòmíràn tí a lè lọ. Àjọ lè dàbí ilé. Ẹ jẹ́ ká sowọ́pọ̀ ká fìmọ̀ ṣọ̀kan.
Nigeria is ours. May God bless Nigeria. Okay, so you're welcome to yet another interesting edition of Politics Today. Coming to I should announce to you that today is the final burial rites of the late Olubadan of Ibadan land, and it's ongoing as we speak here in the city of Ibadan. Ibadan is hosting dignitaries across the globe, across the nation. Since we're talking about politics, let me tell you that the late Olubadan was a politician, an astute politician of note. He was a senator in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. You would permit me to tell you that. Yes, he was a senator. He was a legislator, and not just any legislator, a legislator of note. So Senator Lekan Balogun was a monarch. But you know, when you hear the word senator, that means in Nigeria the person was a legislator. And let me quickly bring you this brief before I go into politics talks in Nigeria. But let me quickly bring you this that many of you might not know. Senator Lekan Balogun, or late Oba Lekan Balogun, was a presidential aspirant on the platform of the Social Democratic Party. Huh? You say, huh? Okay, that's true. And he was also a gubernatorial candidate for the People's Democratic Party in Oyo State in the present political dispensation. You may find out these are not things that are just fermented from the clouds. These are facts. They are factual. I think the Balogun family is they have politics running in their blood. His younger brother too was a senator. That's Senator Kola Balogun. Yes, he was a commissioner, a one-time commissioner in Oyo State under Senator Rashid Ladoja. Yes, he was a commissioner for works, and he was also a senator in the last political dispensation. Yeah. And then Lekan Balogun represented Oyo Central Senatorial District between 1999 and 2003. As a senator, he was the chairman of the Senate Committee on National Planning and was a member of many Senate committees such as Appropriations, security and intelligence, police affairs and defense, and police affairs and defense. That's army. And late Oba Lekan Balogun had earlier worked as a lecturer at Ahmadu Bello University Zaria, Kaduna State, an editor of the monthly magazine Nigerian Pathfinder, and as a director with Triumph newspaper Kano, as well as a management consultant for multinational organizations such as Leyland, Exide Battery, and Nigerian Brewery. Okay, I'm going to peg it to that. That's to tell you that Ibadan people, you have to find an Ibadan indigene that doesn't like politics. That's the truth. You hardly find an Ibadan indigene, thorough in the Ibadan indigene that doesn't like politics. How true is that? Okay, I'll leave that to you to judge. So let's go into the programming per se. The week that is rounding off today has been a week full of politics and full of so many schemings and so many permutations. In a very interesting turn of events, just on Thursday, the Kaduna State Assembly indicted El Rufai for alleged corruption, and they recommended his suspension, and they recommended his prosecution. And this has actually sent so many. It has actually brought so many thoughts up that what happened between former governor of Kaduna State and his successor. Because when you see in Nigerian politics, when you see things like this happening, then apparently there's a bad blood between the governor, the outgone governor, and his successor. That is also happening in Rivers State. That's also happening in Rivers State, faraway Rivers State, where Siminalayi Fubara has promised that he's going to probe his predecessor, that's Nyesom Wike, is going to probe. Remember that in the administration of Wike, and how seemingly interesting check of do states have that power? Yes, they have that power, but do they have the instruments to even prosecute and jail an outgone governor? Just take for instance Nyesom Wike. Nyesom Wike is the current Minister of Federal Capital Territory, and if his successor says he wants to check his records and check the financial prudence of Nyesom Wike, and then the report indicts him what is next? After indicting him, you take the reports to probably EFCC or ICPC. Is ICPC and EFCC, are they not under federal government? Are the heads of EFCC and ICPC, are they not eating on the same table as Nyesom Wike? So what will be the next thing? What's the next thing? Except if a predecessor does not have federal backing, that's when you can say you want to tabiobio, you want to try and bring your predecessor down. But looking at it very well, most of this check into administration in Nigeria have never yielded any result. Go and check it. Even in Ibadan here, in Oyo State, former governors have been probed. They have been probed. They've probed former. All the former governors have been probed, but nothing has happened. Truth be told, even when this our governor leaves and probably an opposition party comes in, they will probe him. But after probing him, what happens? Nothing. So why waste the resources of the state on things that are not going to yield any result? That's a pertinent question that we should ask. Why waste our resources, or waste the state's resources or the nation's resources on things that will not? Because now you're setting River State is setting up a committee. The committee will be driven by money, by funds, taxpayers' funds. They will want to go to one father's project in River State. They want to go and check whether truly they executed that project. They will go there. They are not going to use their own money. They will use the state's funds, and they are not going to give them 2,000 naira, 1,000 naira. They commit millions, hundreds of millions into these probes. Probes that they already know the results. They already know what they want to write down. They've even called. Is it not that they want to indict him? They want to indict him, So even if he did the project, they will say he didn't do it, or probably they will say they used an inferior material to execute the project. They were supposed to use cement. Rather than cement, they use asphalt, and then that will be it. But after that, nothing will come out of it, because the EFCC, you want to even Oyo State is a bit different, but so far so good. Oyo State has what we call the Oyaka, and truth be told, Oyaka, how many politicians have been indicted? How many politicians have been brought to book? How many former governors have been indicted and have been jailed? How many former deputy governors have been indicted and have been jailed? But that is not to say Oyaka is doing well. Oyaka is doing well. Give Oyaka, and they did justice on that man. I'm not going to reveal the identity, or I'm going to keep it under the wraps. But there was a civil servant that I personally reported, and the civil servant was dealt with. So that's to say Oyaka is doing well. How many states have an agency like Oyaka independently, and Oyaka is working independently? They are not working under the influence of the governor. Besides, the woman at the helms of affair at Oyaka is an iron lady, Honorable Justice Enyeson. Yes, she's an iron lady, so she's devoid of any influence from the governor, and they act on petitions and petitions given to them. So I am not saying that I am advising at this juncture that probably other state governors should take a cue from Oyo State, and they should have something like Oyaka. But the question is, how would Oyaka take a further leap and go after corrupt politicians, and not just corrupt civil servants and members of the public? And when I say corrupt politicians, I'm not talking about commissioners and those that are lesser. I'm talking about the big ones in politics that have gotten petitions against them. Do you understand? So, away from that, the Kaduna State House of Assembly ad hoc committee, it was an ad hoc committee that was probing the financial dealings of the 8 years administration of former governor Nasir El-Rufai, and it is even not enough for an ad hoc committee. Do you know what an ad hoc committee is? An ad hoc committee is just one small committee that is that the speaker will say, oh yeah, you go and quickly do this thing. They are not going to do a thorough job. It's an ad hoc committee. They have time limits. An ad hoc committee in any house, they are not like the committees, the substantive committees in various houses of assembly or even in the National Assembly. An ad hoc committee has time limit. They might give them maybe 1 month to do the job. How would you, if you want to probe a 4-year an 8-year administration within 1 month? How is that possible? It's a question that we should actually face. How is that possible? Very soon we will be bringing analysts who would be doing justice to all these political issues. But for now, let's enjoy. Let's interact. So how is it possible for an ad hoc committee that has a time frame of probably 1 month or 2 months? How is it possible for them to probe an administration that ran? How is it possible? Because an administration that ran for 8 years, you cannot tell me you would probe an administration that ran for 8 years within 1 month or within months. It is not possible. So back to it. The Kaduna Assembly, they indicted and the former governor Nasir El-Rufai and some key members of his cabinet for alleged corruption. Okay, let me take a break. Security for 20 billion. I think this is 20 billion naira guaranteed in 2023 forthwith, and request the bank to refund all monies deducted on account accrued interest thereof. Chai. Now Zenith Bank don't run them. Now Zenith Bank they run them before. Now Zenith Bank has entered Biggie with the current administration assembly, and also at the House of Representatives. They said shutdown of national grid was a sabotage, economic sabotage, and the Senate also has started making efforts to enact laws against national grid. Yes. So the issue now is, should we ask ourselves an economic sabotage by the organized labor? Was it? What's your take? Was it really an economic sabotage by these unions? And by the virtue of the National Assembly are making efforts, or they've started putting laws into place to ensure that henceforth during labor and labor strikes, the national grid and the airports are not shut down. In fact, we even heard that the water system in the National Assembly was also shut by the workers. Those workers at the National Assembly, they are naughty. They shut down the water. So senator that wants to poo will go to the toilet and cannot get water to poo. Or senator that wants to wee cannot get water, or wants to wash hand cannot get water, could not get water to wash hand. Or this could be painful actually. So this could be very painful for a whole senator to enter his toilet and won't be able to, and enter his toilet is the National Assembly complex, and see that there's no light. It could be painful. Truly, it could be painful. And we also heard that during that labor strike, that the importers said that they lost 200 billion naira to the 2-day strike by the National Assembly. Is this true? And what can we do as a nation to ensure that labor strikes do not affect our economic relevance? Because losing 200 billion naira in 2 days is huge. Too much. It is huge. And I think it's pertinent that we try to work against. Yes, it's good for labor to show their grievances. It's strike is actually, or protest and strikes are actually right. They are actually legal and they are constitutional. But then, is it right for strikes to shut down banking system, shut down freight businesses, and shut down things that are bringing money into the economy? And it is still the same money you want from the government. You don't understand. You want money from the government, and then you are shutting government's businesses down. I think the labor union should look into this. There are places that you can shut down during strike. You can shut them down during strike, and they will not affect the economy. And there are places that if you shut them down during strike, Nigeria is losing billions of naira. Remember, you're fighting for Nigeria and for Nigerians. You're not fighting for yourselves. So you must be considerate in all you do. This is an honest plea to our labor union leaders. I'm also a labor person, but then I think it's pertinent that you look into this and try as much as possible to ensure that things are done right. Okay, our time is fast spent. Like I told you, 30 minutes is actually not enough for this program. 30 minutes is not enough at all. And we'll look into speaking with the management of this radio station to help us consider hopping our game. Probably we add extra 15 minutes to it to make it 45 minutes. And this will be possible if you bring your adverts and your announcements to Power365 Online Radio. Thank you for staying tuned today to Politics Today. It was an hot debate with myself. It was an hot one, but then don't worry. Very soon we will have analysts that would also come on board, and they would also be giving it to us hot. So until next time when you hear from me, Olamide Adeniji is my name. Do have a blessed weekend and ensure you stay out of trouble. Goodbye.